All right, good morning, everyone. I think it's 9 o'clock. I think we're ready to start. If y'all will stand with me, and we'll have a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, we come to you today and gather together to handle county business, and we are grateful for your presence and the wisdom and the guidance that you provide to each one of us. Thank you for those elected officials that are here. Thank you for those that serve the county, that our first responders, our firefighters, our police departments, all of those that work for the county, and we are thankful for those within the county that pay for our operations. Lord, give us wisdom that we need on each one of these subjects to make the decisions that are in the best interest of this county. We pray for our first responders and for those that serve our country in the military, wherever they may be. Protect them and bring them home safely, ultimately. Father, we just turn this agenda over to you. In Christ's name, amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, for the record, today is the 25th day of October 2021. It's just after 9 a.m. and we're meeting here for our second major meeting of the month of the Commissioner's Court. We're here in the county courtroom at 100 West 1st Street. Item number one is our slot that we allocate for comments or requests for information on non-agenda items. In accordance with Open Meetings Act, this is your opportunity to comment to the court. Of course, you can make comments during each one of the agenda items as well. Is there anyone that would like to address the court at this time? All right, we'll move on for consideration of the approval of our court minutes from our last meeting a couple of weeks ago, October the 8th.
Make a motion, we approve the meeting.
Motion is made to approve that set of minutes by Commissioner Parchman.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitch. Is there any discussion on that set of minutes? Thank you, Joyce, for preparing those. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3, consider and possibly approve a budget amendment to use forfeiture funds for the district attorney staff salaries and training. And we have our DA, David Colley, is here. I've also got a memo from Barbara that she prepared for me, and this is actually a consideration of utilizing both a combination of forfeiture funds as well as some of our funds that are set aside just in one of our general contingency, or in fact our main general contingency fund. But just to give you an understanding of the background and why we have something that's relatively out of the ordinary, Mr. Colley is here and he'll kind of give you his reason for making this request. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Judge. Judge's reference to the hybrid request here. Whenever we were talking about we were having our budget meetings last June, my assistant DA had not started yet. It was a little premature to talk about her getting the same raise that everybody else got at the end of the new fiscal year. Because, I mean, until somebody, we hire somebody, we have hopes, but, until they work for you for a few months, you don't know if they're going to fulfill those hopes. She certainly has, and so she was passed on that raise, probably maybe just a paperwork issue, but on that $1,500, she deserves that every bit as much as anybody else, certainly who works for my office. So in realizing that, and in addition to that, what I would like to do is spend a little bit of money from the forfeiture account to give all of my staff a little bit of a raise. We're accomplishing what we're accomplishing because of them, and if I can do a little bit out of the forfeiture account that is not going to deplete it, that's something that's sustainable, that lets them know how much I value them, then that's what I would like to do. That takes a budget amendment from y'all just so everything works right. And that's what those funds are supposed to be for anyway. They can be used for expenses for the office, for furniture, for staff salaries, and and then also the travel that we're talking about here too. You know, the figures would be, the total coming out of the forfeiture account would be $6,652. Like I said, that's a sustainable amount, and would benefit my staff, and that's what it's for. So as far as the salaries go, that's what I'm asking for there. None of that extra, you know, that Ms. Stevenson, okay, aside from the raise Ms. Stevenson needs to get along with every other non-elected employee got. Aside from that, the extra comes out of the forfeiture account. Any, you know, nothing of that affects any money of the counties. So, in addition to that, just to help out the auditor's office, you know, we're not asking, my office doesn't, there may be a little bit budgeted for travel, for CLEs and that kind of stuff that we have to do. My office asked for, you know, anything over that comes out of the forfeiture account, so that we don't have to turn around and do a budget amendment or ask for one every time that somebody goes to a seminar or something like that. We need to earmark some of that for the budget so that it can be, so that it works out in the auditor's office. If I say that wrong, correct me. And so that's just the general request here.
Okay, looking in here at Barbara's memo, we're asking for a total raise for the district attorney who did not get a raise as effective October 1. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. We're asking for a raise of $5,000 for your district attorney. Tell us her name for those of us that haven't met her.
Nicole Stevenson.
Nicole Stevenson.
She's she prosecuted in Denton before she came here. She has family, and her husband's family is in Upshur County, so this was a good spot for her. For that, she was in law enforcement for 15 plus years, you know, you hope when you hire somebody for this job that their law enforcement experience is an asset, and it certainly has been, and you know, she deserves every bit of this.
And then you've got a couple of, what do you call them, your legal assistants?
Legal assistants. They each received the raise that everybody else, that the other non-elected employees got. I would just like to add $1,000 to each of theirs.
And the request is for the 2 legal secretaries to receive a total increase of $2,500. Between the 2 of them, is that $1,250 each?
No, so they each got $1,500 that all the other non-elected employees got, and then I'm going to add $1,000 to each of those.
It's just $1,000 each, Judge Lee.
Okay, it's requested that the 2 legal secretaries receive a total increase of $2,500. That includes benefits.
The county gave $1,500, and he's requesting an additional $1,000 from the forfeiture fund for a total of $2,500.
Between the 2 of them,
Yes.
not
No,
times 2.
times 2. Each employee got $1,500. They've already
Right.
received that. And then Mr. Colley is asking for an additional $1,000 each from the DA forfeiture fund.
Okay.
Is that
Right.
right?
All right. In summary, the total cost to the DA's forfeiture fund for these increases will be approximately $6,652. The total cost to the general fund contingency will be $1,815. You know, when we were going through budget, I know there was a lot of things that you didn't know. You weren't sure what it was going to take to get the caliber of person that you wanted. We were making our best guesses back a year ago as to, you know, what this was going to cost. Will any of this be shared by the other counties, or is this all falling on us?
It's not falling on you at all. It's not falling on this Titus County at all. It's my forfeiture account. My forfeiture account comes from Camp County seizures.
Okay.
It comes from Titus County seizures. And except that, you know, except that I need the court to approve a budget amendment so that it can funnel through the way it's supposed to, you know, there's really not a question as to what it gets used for, as long as it's salaries, travel, furniture, equipment. And so, yeah, none of this comes from anything from the county. Now, the raises that the non-elected employees got, Camp County's sharing their 30% on that. And when their fiscal year starts, probably the next month or so, we will, make sure that our interlocal agreement has the correct language for, to make sure that Titus County gets reimbursed from Camp County in proportion to what we talked about. But they're on board with, with whatever the county, with whatever Titus County is, it is obligated on. Camp County's on board with their portion of it.
Okay. So,
But as far
so
as
it is
the
being
extra-
shared, it is this increase, well, part of it does come out of our general contingency fund, which if we didn't have that, it would be county funds. Am I not right there?
The budget amendment I'm asking for will not mess with county funds. It's all forfeiture funds. And the extra on top, we know that if somebody, somebody's getting $15 an hour, it's not $15 an hour that's the hit. Whatever extra comes out of there, that Barbara's calculated, that's all forfeiture funds.
Okay. Will you explain to me, I guess I'm slow this morning, why the need for a general fund contingency draw?
Yes, sir. We budget the entire amount of the salary for the assistant district attorney. So that's within the budget. When we had the budget meetings this summer in June, in spring, not late spring, we did not even discuss the possibility of a raise for the assistant district attorney because that position was not filled. So this $1,815 that comes out of contingency is the $1,500.
That's all that is.
That's all. Plus
Gotcha. Now I'm with you. All right. Sorry, I'm slow. Okay. Everybody understand that this is, and you can sustain this on beyond just this year. You can feel like that that monies will be there ongoing to continue to pull that from your forfeitures. Okay.
And and I've talked to the court before about how, how careful we need to be with that fund, and so this is after lots of thought and, additional monies we've been able to put into it over the last few months, so this is sustainable.
Okay.
Judge Lee?
Yeah.
I would request that we set aside a designated amount for the training that Mr. Colley mentioned from the district attorney's fund. I don't know if it needs to be $2,000 or $5,000, but we need to designate a line item. We just don't need to let that be open-ended.
Right, I think five, and that should cover it.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah.
But that's also from the district attorney forfeiture fund, not part of general county funds.
Would you want to go ahead and set that up in the current budget?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Commissioners, do you have any questions for DA Colley? And I'm personally real impressed with your staff. I know you feel very good about them, and I know you're glad to get Ms. Stevenson. That was a good win for you, and y'all are churning out some work.
We are, and it's, and they are a big part of that.
How do you feel like that staff level is going to do you? Will it do you for a while? A year? Two?
I think so. I mean,
All right.
yeah, I don't, it's such a relief from how it's been the past 15 years to have the staff that it's a lot, pretty easy to be grateful and not be wanting more.
All right. Questions, comments? All right, what would you like to do with this request? If you will give me a motion.
Make a motion for the budget amendments and raises and take care of it.
Okay, so you make a motion that we honor Mr. Colley's request for a increase to the assistant district attorney's salary, as well as the two legal secretaries, that would be the rest of his staff besides himself, with the understanding that we're using a bit of our contingency fund to catch up in a raise that was not received by the DA. The rest of this will be funded by his forfeiture funds.
And we need to tack on that travel allowance on there too.
And adding a $5,000 a year travel allowance to also be drawn from the forfeiture fund.
Correct.
Good? All right.
That's good. Second.
Second by Commissioner Parchman. Any further discussion? Thank you, David. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed? All right, appreciate your time.
Thank y'all.
Not issued, Judge.
Item number 4, presentation by Chief McRae is here with us for his bi-monthly update on fire protection here within the county. Welcome, Chief. And he has provided you with his usual very detailed charts and tables here. Turn it over to you, Chief.
Thank you, Judge. Start off with the fire department is supposed to turn in reports each month. So this, all what we're talking about this morning is for July and August. And all the reports have been turned in on time, and we did have a few that were still using some old forms, but we've addressed that at our chief's meeting, and so that should be remedied. So that, and I think there was a glitch in August that we thought Talco had not turned theirs in, but they actually had. It was just would have missed an email. Also, since I've given you all that information, the National Weather Service has actually put out a prediction for December and February. And it's supposed to be warmer and drier from December through February. Also, right now we are in a moderate drought situation, and our grass fires have started increasing. So I know Scba, PFS are here, and they may want to talk to you about the drought and stuff as well. We're supposed to get a little bit of rain Wednesday, but if it blows through and just drops a little bit, it's going to basically give us a false sense of security there for a while. But it's starting to get really dry out there. So attendance at the chief's meetings, we have a pretty good turnout, with the exception of 5 Star and Argo. We started back in June actually tracking this, and 5 Star and Argo, the chief has not attended any of the meetings, whereas if you look over at Tri-Lakes, their chief has attended every meeting, as well as Talco. Randy's been at all the meetings except for one. So, when we have our chiefs meetings, that's the opportunity to share information and make sure we're doing everything we need to be doing, to all be on the same page.
That's a monthly meeting?
Yes, yes. Third Thursday of the month when we do that. The firefighter membership and training report, we've changed that up a little bit, to where we're only showing the training for structure fires, wildland fires, and fireground support on that document you see there. Those are the 3 really important ones that we're going to be there to monitor or have to have, we'll be responsible for those calls. Obviously, we're wanting them to get the training in other things as well, some of the stuff that's required by the agreement. The 4 main areas the agreement talks about getting training in is structure firefighting, wildland firefighting, vehicle fires, and vehicle support. Is what we're shooting for to get the training in. So as you look through there, you can kind of see who's what. If they're red, that is a structure firefighter, or if they have the training to be a structure firefighter. If it has an asterisk by it, it's wildland, and if it's underlined, it's fireground support. A lot of the people that have the structure fire training are not going to be active in that, but they have had the training. You'll see there's 2 columns there for each department. The reason for that is this is one of the things we keep in our command vehicles, so if somebody comes up and gives us their radio number, we can find them, or if they just give us their last name, we can find them. So that 1 column is by the radio number, and 1 column is by the alphabet. On the monthly countywide training attendance, shows for July that we did wildland firefighting and we only had 24 out of 92 firefighters attend that training. In August, we did pump operations, and you can see on y'all's it says 14 out of 92. We went back and realized that 5-Star, Argo, and Cookville, we had the number of members wrong. And one of the things we've had an issue with is really trying to nail down how many is on each department, because we've been keeping a couple of different rosters. In our last chief's meeting, we got that squared away. So actually, for the August pump ops, it would have been 14 out of 96, would have been like 14% of the members attended. So we're still not getting real good attendance at the countywide training that we're doing. The monthly training at the volunteer departments, you remember the agreement says they need to have one meeting each month, one training session. On this one, you see that in July, 5-Star Argo was the only ones that turned anything in. And then in August, Tri-Lakes actually had 2 meetings that month, and then 5-Star, Nortex, Argo, and Talco. And then it lists what the training was.
And these were actually live training opportunities. These weren't.
Yes.
This isn't what you make available on the internet.
No. Now, they can't use those lesson plans as part of their department training, which some of them I think may be doing. Behind that sheet of paper, where it's on the countywide as well as the VFD training, there's a detail of who's attending the training and what. Behind each one of those cover pages, it shows who was at the training.
What can we do to improve training attendance? Is there anything we can do from our end?
It's kind of like fishing. You put the information out there, and you give them the opportunity, but you can't make them come.
Are they conducting this kind of training on their own in their own departments?
Yes. And as I've said in the past, we've offered, we've got state certified trainers. We've been teaching Fire Academy at the college for the past, it'll be our 20th year next year. We have the instructors that we've offered to utilize those. We've asked them to come to our department because we've got the audio visual aids, all the training aids and everything in our department, the audio visual classroom. But no one's taking us up on that. Then the volunteer firefighter response to incidents. You have a couple of documents about that. The one that's on the 8.5 by 11, that's actually a summary from back in April. You also have a larger sheet that is more detailed, that breaks down each department, who's responding. And as you can see for August, we had 96 volunteer fire department members, and of those members, 27 actually respond to more than 1 out of 4 calls. The rest, 69, are less than 1 in 4, and then there's 9 of them that are has not made a call at all. And there's an asterisk down there that says basically we have 96 volunteer fire department members. However, there's only 88 actual people because we have 7 that are members of multiple departments.
What happened to those numbers between April and May? We went from 121 to 89. Is that
At one of our chiefs meetings, I asked them to basically just put on your roster the people you believe are going to respond, not necessarily people that's going to be there for fundraisers or mechanics or people that do your paperwork. This is just people that are going to respond to a call. And so that was the drop from April to May. And you see after May, it's kind of held steady around from 89 again to 96. And it's also held steady that in April we had 31 that were 25% or more in May, 29, June 32, July 32, and August 27. So really out of 80 to 90 something people, we have like 29 that are actually, you can say they're actually active firefighters.
And comment again on that 25% or more. Is that a new number? Has that been around a
No,
while?
sir. That's the number. Basically, if you look at the bottom of the page, the Texas Emergency Service Retirement System and the Texas Local Firefighter Retirement Act, their definition of an active volunteer firefighter is anybody that makes 25% or more of the calls.
Was these numbers with Sugar Hill in it, or were they out of it?
Figure.
Were these numbers here, was Sugar Hill involved in these numbers, or were not in it?
No.
So-
The Sugar Hill hadn't been active for basically this time period.
So we've got 28 to 35% that by this definition would be active firefighters, at least based on this time frame anyway.
Yeah, percentage-wise, it's from 25 to about 34, but actual numbers is about 32 at the highest and 29 looks like at the lowest, 27 at the lowest. Still, one of the things that concerns me for the wildlife, for the grass fires, is grass fires occur in the afternoons between basically noon and dusk, and that's generally when we have our volunteer firefighters at work. And so even with, you got 27 that are actually active, and if they're all at work, then it's a lot less than that. I know we had one last week in North Texas District, and there was one person, one truck came to the call. We're having some where we don't have anybody show up from volunteer calls. So,
Okay.
that does concern me. Overlapping incidents, those are type calls where we're already on a call and another one comes in on top of it or another one. The cover sheet there is for 2 months, and it shows that out of 141 calls, we have 14 of them that overlap. And for as a year-to-date, we have about 10% of our calls are overlapping calls. And the pages behind that are actually details of what each call was. And, there's been a few times where, if the timing could have been different, the outcomes could have been worse. There's been a time or two where we've been on a call and getting to a point where we can turn resources loose to go to another call. But if we hadn't been able to turn the resources loose to go to that other call, outcome might not have been quite as good. So it's just, it's not really, if it's ever going to happen, it's when are we going to get caught where we can't provide the service we need to.
We being Mount Pleasant Fire,
yes.
Mount Pleasant Fire Department.
Because if we can't go, it falls back, the volunteer department's going to have to deal with it on their own. If we don't, the volunteer fire departments don't have the training, or if they don't respond, then there's nobody going to provide the service.
And you don't necessarily keep enough folks on staff to handle 2 serious events.
I have 10 people on duty, and if we go to the county, I only send 4 to 5 of those. Our contract requires we send 4. Depending on what it is, we may send 6 or 7 maybe. And that leaves us leaving the city can be in a predicament. We leave a 3-man engine company in the city. I sent you an email a couple of weeks ago where we had a fire out of the pulpwood company, and we were actually were going to be there for hours, we knew, so we did a call back for our firefighter, off-duty firefighters. That particular day, we could only get 3 back out of the 20 or so that were off. It's a hit and miss. If they're on their part-time job, if they're on vacation, they're sick, son's softball game or what have you, they're not going to come. So. So the other document that I laid up there on your desk that wasn't included in the original report is the status of SOPs and equipment testing records required by the agreement between the VFDs and the county that they're supposed to turn in.
Explain what SOPs are.
Standard operating procedures, how they're going to operate on the scene as far as the wildland, grass fires, vehicle fires, all the type of calls they're going to go to. Those are standard operating procedures on how they will conduct operations. So on the SOPs, we had set a target date for August 31st to get those completed. Those are still being worked on. Nortex, Trilex, 5-Star, Argo, and Cookville are working together to produce a document. Sugar Hill is not in that group. Talco, at our chief's meeting the other night, Randy said they're in the process of working on theirs as well. The biannual hose tests, we don't have anything from Argo, Sugar Hill. I'm going to let the representatives from Sugar Hill speak to that. Talco, I show we have nothing on theirs, but they actually, along with Nortex, have tested their hose. 5-Star and Cookville, we don't have anything. Talco does. They just did theirs last week. Yeah. So it was after I put this together. The biannual pump test, excuse me. We have the pump test information from everybody. The fire extinguishers we have from Sugar Hill and Nortex, waiting on it from the rest. The Scba cylinder hydro tests, we've learned that one of the things that's come out in this information is that Argo has been operational for 3 years and just recently purchased breathing apparatus and wildland gear, and they do not have any bunker gear. So what that means is they cannot safely respond to vehicle fires. If you don't have protective equipment or breathing apparatus, it's not safe to do that. So until they can get their training and equipment, Mount Pleasant will be responding to any car fires in Argo District.
What are they, so tell me again what they're not able to do?
They don't have the protective equipment, the bunker gear, coat, pants, helmet, gloves, the breathing apparatus. Like I said, the breathing apparatus, they said they just ordered 4 sets last week, I believe. And so, like I said, they've been in operation for 3 years, and we assumed they had all this, but it's come to light that they don't.
What can they participate in safely?
Grass fires. Some of them have got grass fires. 4 of them have trading and wildland fires, grass fires.
Okay.
Like I said, we assumed that they had all the other, it's just now come to light that they don't. They just recently purchased wildland protective equipment, which again, we assumed everybody had that. But
Okay.
as far as the annual Scba flow tests, again, Argo has just purchased theirs.
And this is self-contained breathing apparatus used when?
For fighting car fires or structure fires, anywhere where there's an ideal H atmosphere, immediately dangerous to life and health atmosphere. That's when the breathing apparatus has to be worn. As far as the Scba flow tests, like I said, Argo has just purchased theirs. Sugar Hill has had their flow test done, but skipping back up to the Scba cylinder hydro, all the cylinders at Sugar Hill will expire at the end of December, which means they're going to have to purchase new cylinders. The air pack itself, the Scba, the flow, the regulator, everything else except the cylinder, it passed inspection. So all they need to be complete is to have good SCBA's is new cylinders.
So you have to actually replace the cylinder, not refill it or whatever you do.
They have a 15-year, most of them have a 15-year lifespan, and these run out at the end of.
Is that fairly expensive stuff to,
We just bought, just ordered 10, and they were $9,000.
each?
No, they're about $900 a pop.
Okay.
Now, there are some vendors out there that have some refurbished that still have some life in them, and they may be looking at that. Industry turns in stuff before it's end of life, and so they may be able to take advantage of that. It's not cost quite as much.
How much does a department, should they have, how many of those tanks should they have?
They need at least 4.
Okay.
Well, I'd say they probably need at least 8. Have 4 on the air packs and then 4 extras.
Okay.
And as far as the flow test, like I said, those are all good. Like I said, as you can see, we're not making a whole lot of progress on training and responding and all that. We're kind of status quo. You can kind of see the last few months, I'm telling you basically the same thing.
Do you get feedback at your chiefs meetings as to the obstacles that they're facing?
Just getting their members to come, getting members to join, and then getting members to come to training. I don't know that we can pinpoint them. A lot of it's time. People just, it takes a lot of time to be a volunteer fireman nowadays. So.
Okay. So equipment-wise, we're lacking at Argo. Anything else is a glaring
Argo,
need?
Sugar Hill needs to, even if you have the breathing apparatus and the bunker gear, you got to have the training. And the online training that we put in Dropbox, we've only had 4 people that's actually taken advantage of that, and that was 4 from Sugar Hill. But other than that, that's all we've had is taken advantage of it. It's actually came to the station and said, hey, we've done these lessons in Dropbox, and we want to come do our written test and our skills. It's out there. It's just, we can't make them do it.
Talking about those overlapping incidents, have you had any where you really were stressed and there was potential to have a real disaster?
Yes. We've had a couple of incidents where we've had motor vehicle accidents where one occurred and we had just basically finished getting the patient out when another one occurred out in the county. So we were lucky in the fact that we could cut some resources loose from the original one we had to extricate people and go to the other one, which turned out not to be, it was a minor accident, as it turned out. Even going to we started to the sawmill fire the other day, en route, we got dispatched to a motor vehicle accident. So we had to split the forces we were sending. The engine went to the wreck, and the command vehicle and the brush truck went on to the sawmill fire. And if you've looked at the pictures or went to the TikTok video that was posted on Facebook, you can see that was quite involved. We were out there for many hours on that. So luckily, the vehicle accident we got dispatched to when the engine got there, it was a minor accident. They didn't have to do any extrication. It wasn't like a 3-car pileup or multiple patients. So we were able to cut that engine loose, let EMS finish it up, and send it on to the call. But we would have been hampered in both situations, because basically if it had been a bad wreck, we would have basically discontinued our response to the sawmill fire and came back to where we knew lives were in danger. So that fire would have been responsible for the VFDs to handle. And then we ended up, I think, with a couple of VFDs there. We actually had to call Omaha to bring us water because we couldn't get it from some of our other departments because they didn't respond. So there's just we've had quite a few that have been that close call. You know, if either one of them had went a different way, it would have been a less than favorable outcome.
Status quo, where we are right now, we any better than a year ago, 2 years ago? Are we worse? Are we about the same?
I'd say we're no better off. We're either stagnant or worse.
Okay. What does this mean for you? What does this mean for the Mount Pleasant Fire Department? And tell us again what you're obligated to send by our contract and what you typically send, and why do you send more than we need?
For years, we were only required to send 2 pieces of equipment and 2 people, and that goes back 20 years. I never sent that. We always sent more than 2 people. Sending 2 people to a structure fire is not safe, and it doesn't meet the requirements that our career guys have to follow. The volunteers are not required to follow NFPA or anything, but the Texas Commission on Fire Protection regulates the paid fire service in Texas. And one of the things they require is if we're going to do structural firefighting, that we have to have 4 people on scene to do that. And if we don't, then we can't go inside the building to fight fire. So, and again, it depends on which station we send. If it's out of Central, we'll send the engine and the rescue, which is 5 people right there, because we have one dedicated to drive the rescue at Central. So there's 5. If I'm on duty and my aide's there, there is WECO, and then off-duty guys may show up. So we always have more. Well, 99% of the time we have more than the 4 that's required by the contract, which was amended, I want to say a couple of years ago, where we're required to send 2 pieces of equipment and 4 people. And again, we still do more than that. So, you know, it's just not safe. You know, it's about firefighter safety, as well as being able to perform the job and provide the service to the people safely and effectively.
Very thorough reports. Thank you for all the time you spend on those. Commissioners, you got any questions here for Chief McRae? Any explanations you need on any of this? Don't have anything? Appreciate you, Chief McRae.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. See you back in maybe December for our next report.
Yes.
Okay, item number 5, update on Sugar Hill Volunteer Fire Department. Who's here from Sugar Hill today? Who's here from Sugar Hill today? Mr. Van? Okay. That's not the best, I understand. I just seen who was here from Sugar Hill today. All right. You want to be the... Who wants to give us an update?
I'm not the chief, but the chief had work. And I think Chief McRae mentioned the fact that we did get all of our hoses checked, and we got it done by the same company that checks it. And I think there was a misunderstanding there on the part of some. We thought that the new hoses we got that had never used did not have to be checked. But then they told us, no, all hoses had to be checked. So that was part of our problem. But we're working real hard to come in line. Y'all know that this thing fell on me when Jerry and them retired, and I knew absolutely nothing about it. I bugged you and I bugged McCray and different ones. And I think we're coming along pretty good. I think it's just a matter of having time to train our people. We've got 17 new people, beg pardon, 14 new people, I believe, on our roll, and they're faithful to come so far, but we just haven't had the time to do all the training that we need to do. But we have had all of our fire extinguishers checked and redone and all those things like that. And we've looked at the dates on everything that has to be done away with, replaced, I'm trying to say, and trying to keep up with that. And so that's basically all I know about it, that we're just trying to learn as we go along, because we don't really have anybody on our fire department now that has the experience except, well, they don't have experience. Marcus's son just finished school out here, but he don't have the experience. And Colton House has been through something, but he has probably more experience than anybody on our team. And I'm sorry that I couldn't understand half what you were saying, me sitting back there, so I don't hardly know what to say. But if you have any questions like that, I'll try to answer.
Well, I was hoping that somebody, chief or assistant chief, would be here today, and
Well, the chief wanted to come, but his wife is having knee surgery 27th, and they won't let him take off both days. So naturally, he's going to take off to be with her, and I don't know about our assistant chief. I don't know. I don't think he's working. He's a night dispatcher for the police department, and I haven't heard from him concerning this.
okay. Well, I did want to specifically talk about the hose testing situation. And I don't know if you're equipped to tell us about that or not, but in my opinion, we had something occur that very much concerns me on the reporting that was given to Chief McCray regarding the testing of hoses. And I don't know how much you know about this, but
I know a little about that, but we did go back. I personally took the truck to Talco, where this same company that does Mount Pleasant was testing Talcos. I sat in the pickup with Randy Carroll, and we watched every hose being tested. So every one of our hoses, we even took the hoses off of our grass trucks and put them on the engine and took it up there. And we asked them, does the red line on the grass trucks have to be checked? And they said no. So that's the only two lines in our department that has not been checked. And we didn't have a single line that didn't pass.
okay. Well, I'm referring to the erroneous tests that were originally turned in that we were notified about. I'm referring to the erroneous test results that were given to Chief McCray is what I wanted to know about.
All I know about that is things I've heard. I was not
Okay.
there. I had come to town to pick up a battery for the generator that's on the back of the engine. And I was gone quite a while. When I got back, I was told the hoses had been tested. And I think at that time, and I don't know, Chief McCray could tell you what transpired between the two of them, but at that time, our chief was under the impression you didn't have to check the new ones. And that's really all I know about that. It's hearsay. You know.
Okay.
I did talk to Chief McCray about it, and he said that all of them wasn't tested. And I believe that, I'm going to correct if John told you he had checked them all.
Well, maybe I'll get Chief McCray to fill in.
Yeah.
Because I did provide that memo that Chief McCray wrote to the commissioners, and I just wanted to give you or anybody else within that department an opportunity to comment.
I had a real good talk with John and told him the importance of doing this. I don't, in my personal opinion, I don't believe we have this kind of problem with it anymore. think that he will try to do his very best, and he is a good firefighter when he's on the scene. But now he's like most of our fire department. He works and he could only go. Well, myself, I drive a school bus, so there's the morning and evening, there's time that I can't go. I pastor a church, so when I'm preaching, I can't go over the fire. So I miss a lot of calls that I otherwise could make. But I think that it's coming together pretty good. I'm concerned about him telling Chief McRae that he tested all the hoses, but I understand he did admit it, and he has apologized personally to me. I don't know if that's anybody else or not for his not doing that, and that's all I want to tell you. I really believe that he will make a bigger effort to do because of the talks that I've had with him, and quite frankly that his wife had with him.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry all eyes are on you today, but I'm grateful that you're here filling in. I appreciate you.
And I appreciate the confidence that y'all have shown in me during the time that I was having to do this. But see, we've been down for what, nearly 6 months, and we just got our radios back. Chief helped me out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so we've only had one meeting since we got them, and we passed out radios to the ones that were there. But some of them apparently didn't get the word there was a meeting, and we've been giving the radios out as we see them since that. So we really hadn't had much of a chance to respond to any calls. And for some reason, the one call that we had that we would have responded to, it wasn't in our precinct, but it was a car fire, if I remember correctly. I had my phone laying right beside my bed. It did not come over my phone till 3 hours later. And then it come on my phone that there was a call. And I hear others have the same problem I'm having with Verizon who have. And a lot of times, like if you'd send me a message right now, I might not get that message till 6 o'clock this evening. So we're having some problem with that. And if you get on Facebook and look, you'll see people all over Mount Pleasant. And in fact, a couple of our policemen are having problems where they live with getting calls. So there's just a lot of things involved here that some of it we probably can get control of and take care of it. Some of it we have no control over. And there's several times that I have saved things on my phone and suddenly it's erased. And I went into Verizon and they erased it and they couldn't tell me why, or they wouldn't tell me why. So, and I realize we're in a rather remote area. We have one fireman that if he's at his house, he's about probably a mile and a half east of our fire station. He can't hear a thing with his cell phone. He drives up to our church when he needs to make a phone call on his cell phone because it just don't come in down there where he lives. And I know myself, if I'm driving 71 East and there's an area before we get to 259 that I lose you if I'm talking to you. So we just have several extenuating circumstances, and to me, I think we're doing the best we can.
When do you feel like you'll have your active firefighters trained and consider yourself a functional department?
Well, they're training on NIMS right now. Several of them that I know of. I don't know about all of them because I don't have opportunity to commute with all of them, but I know that some of them are training on that. Now it'll be up to the chief or assistant chief, whoever's going to do the training, to give you the answer on when the training will be, because we're supposed to have one Tuesday night a month is a business meeting, one Tuesday night a month is training. And quite frankly, we hadn't had that for years, even though it's been reported that we were training 2 hours. You go in and you sign the sheet, it says training. Well, you don't know if you're going to be trained or not, but you put it down. And we sat there and talked about everything but training. That's been happening for years. So I think that John will get it together and try to do that training. I think our assistant chief is going to help him. And, I'm sure Marcus and myself will help him. And we're about the only ones left that have any kind of training at all, because we had so many left our department.
Well, I have concerns that your department feels like they have confidence in their own leadership. You want to comment on that? I'm just wondering if the current leadership you have in place right now, does the active firefighters that you have as part of this, do they have confidence in your leadership?
Well, they elected him by 100% acclamation. It's all I can tell you.
Okay.
I conducted the meeting myself, and they did him and the assistant chief by acclamation. And I personally asked, is there anybody that does not agree with this? And nobody spoke up or raised their hands, so that's all I know to tell you.
How many were in attendance at your last meeting?
12 at our last meeting.
Okay.
Because some of them were working, but we have 17 on the road.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to comment? Dana, Marcus?
I mean, like what Wesley said, it was odd. I mean, like what Wesley said, we did elect new officials based on, whoever wanted to nominate themselves for those positions. And that's what we did, but as far as confidence in our leadership, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to go to the last Sugar Hill meeting. It's my daughter's birthday and last game. From what I understand, there was a difference between, I guess, with the hose pump testing. Information was presented to the, and I can't speak on the meeting because I wasn't there, but the information I was given that report was falsified or wasn't accurate. And I just see that as being a big deal. I mean, that's not what that department needs.
Okay.
And from what I understand, at least at the last meeting, there were several of them that presented the information. Maybe there were some that thought that it'd be best to, I don't know, maybe it's not fair for me to talk about what happened at the last meeting. I wasn't there, so. But if that's the case and it was falsified intentionally, that's not a mistake. A mistake is, maybe you don't know how to accurately or how to test the hoses. You may be testing with the wrong truck, and I think that's a mistake that you can correct or whatever. Maybe this isn't a popular opinion between the volunteers or Chief McCrayer, who knows, whatever. But I just think there's, I decided to stay and Wesley decided to stay to take over this department and do the right thing. And I wanted to hand it over to new leadership with intention of wanting to do the right thing and the things that are being done right now. I mean, there's some good things happening. I mean, and there's some hurdles or whatever. I don't know if the current leadership is the right thing or not. But if it's, I can tell you that when the hose testing happened, that I never received a call that was going to happen or to come help. My son never received a call. As far as I know, there were some new people, even some people that weren't on the department, that were there testing the hose. So I wasn't there when that happened, and I didn't get a call when it was happening. And the only information I was given was that all the hose was tested except for the very top hose of the big engine. And that was gonna be a hose that was replaced. That's what I was told. So in good faith, I thought, hey, that was the case. I wasn't called to be a part of the hose testing. You know, I don't know what was initially turned in on the sheet, nor am I experienced to even know how to test the fire hose itself. And I think the assistant chief, you know, he got kind of pulled in the middle, you know, on the report itself, and he had, you know, in good faith. So, I mean, is it a mistake? I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, that's my honest opinion, so.
Thank you. You want to comment?
Well, can I say one more thing? And I don't know, like, was the truck, I know that there was some stuff tested in Alco. Was that after that report, or was that before the report? After the report. So the report was turned in, and the stuff was taken to Tyler, and I guess it was readdressed and retested?
The report was turned in on the old hose. That was the intention, they thought it had to be tested. And then whenever I found out what happened, we got permission to get them tested with our hose. And everything got tested. I told Brother Bangor while he was there, test everything.
So it got tested, I guess, just after the fact that the.
It got tested last June.
I mean, I joined the department with good faith to, you know, do the right thing, and that's what I want to do. Maybe talking up here isn't the right thing, or, you know, maybe it's not the popular thing, but I just don't think that how it's being handled right now is not, it's not, if you turn in a report and you put something on it and that didn't happen, that's not the right thing to do. And that if something's a mistake, then great. I think mistakes can be fixed. If you tested all the hose with the grass truck and you didn't know any better, I think that's something that can be overdone, you know, can be fixed. But if you put on a report that you tested a whole lot of hose that didn't get tested,
Okay.
I just don't think that that's not what I signed up for, and that's not what I was on the department for.
Sir, did they say how much hose got tested? Did they give footage of the hose?
No.
On that report that you got?
You get a list, so this is all
I'll let anybody that wants to speak come up to the mic, but let me take them in order. You know, without having anybody here that was an integral part of that initial testing, it's kind of hard to have a one-sided conversation. I would welcome anybody that wants to get the chief or assistant chief to come up here and give us their side of the story. I've already asked him for that. I have not gotten it yet.
This isn't about any other big deal under the bus, because I don't know what, you know, I think we all should work together. I don't know what happened during the hose testing, because I never received a call to go actually participate in it. Neither did my son. Neither did, I guess, several other people. But there were new people that were there that were either brand new members or people that weren't members, from what I understand, that were actually participating. So, I mean, that's my question. Why did we get a call to go participate in something like that? And even if we couldn't, why did we get a call? And if it got tested after that, that's great. I don't know.
Randy and myself and Randy Hollis was there, and we know all about it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, if that's resolved, that's great, you know. That's how it should work. We should all work together. But I just didn't sign up for, I guess you have to have trust in your leadership. You have to have trust in, you know, obviously we're partially funded by the county, as well as, you know, whatever benefits we have, but that's.
Okay.
I think you can overcome mistakes. I make mistakes every day. But I think when you intentionally do something, it wasn't intentional. I don't understand the report fully, like what, you know, what it says or whatever, or like the link I hold. I don't necessarily understand that, but if things were put on there that weren't tested and it was totally put on there, then that's not.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to let Chief McRae speak. I'm going to let this gentleman speak. Do you want to speak?
I just want to know how, you know, how was it brought up that they didn't do the hoses? What did you see them or what?
I'm going to let you speak, and then I'm going to let Chief McRae speak. And then I think it's appropriate that at some point in the future, we hear from anybody else that wants to give their side of the story. So I'm not here to make any decisions today. Yes, sir.
On a historical deal, years ago, there was nobody sitting on that front row that was involved in any of the contracts and all that from years ago. The Titus County had 3 departments, and that was all y'all had at the time. Okay. And I'm doing this because the people of Sugar Hill, even though I don't live there, they need some representation, I guess. Originally, the Talco district was county line to county line, east and west. And it was White Oak Creek and Sulphur, north and south. And the reason it was set up that way was because way back in the day, you had 1402 Green Hill Road and 271. At the time, the Green Hill Road had the old wooden bridges, which has now been replaced. But in the event of a flood, nobody in the southern part of the departments, the whole southern part of the county, couldn't get up to Sugar Hill if White Oak Creek was flooded. The only way to get there was 271. By the time somebody came all the way around, it was too late for anybody in Sugar Hill. The Green Hill roads have been somewhat fixed on account of the new bridges, but you still have a problem with flooding, even though we haven't had that in years. But you're still going to have a flooding problem on 1402 one of these days. So the people that own property or need help in the Sugar Hill area, y'all need to figure out how to work this out and keep a Sugar Hill department, because they have to have somebody on the north side of that creek when something goes haywire. I don't know how y'all going to do that, but none of y'all was on the boards making decisions when all that was made years ago. So we've all worked together. I'm not saying give the whole district to Talco. That's not what I'm saying. Sugar Hill needs their own department. So whatever problems y'all got to figure it out for those people up there, because they're going to be in a bind. So that's all I've got to say about it, unless y'all have any questions.
I completely agree with you, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, is figure out a way how we can build a strong Sugar Hill Fire Department.
Okay.
We want that.
I'll help any way I can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Appreciate it. Chief McRae, I guess I'll let you give a brief presentation on this, because I do think that this is something that is a concern for current membership and the long-term viability, the short-term viability of this department. And I have asked for a response. I have not gotten a response from the chief.
Yes. So this has gone on, actually started back in September 27th, when they went and tested the hose, as Marcus alluded to. It was brought to my attention that the hose was tested inappropriately, and I made contact with John Grubbs, the chief, over the next few days, and giving him the opportunity to tell me exactly what was done, and he chose not to. A brush truck was used to test the hose, which will not provide the pressure that's required. And so through text messages and other ways, I contacted him, giving the opportunity to tell me what he used. He said he used the engine, and numerous times after that, and even during a meeting on October the 11th, where I met with him and Colton House and one of my deputy chiefs, and we went through all the information, and he stood by that the engine was used to test the hose. Every piece of hose was tested except, as said, everything except what on top of the engine, which was incorrect statements.
Well, and based on he admitted that, or?
We showed him the evidence, the pictures and the things that were given to me, and he fully denied that he used the brush truck, that they used the engine, but there was no proof that he did. The information that was provided to me did exonerate Colton House from being part of it. Colton didn't have any idea it was being done. When I talked to Colton before this meeting, he said the same thing. Everything's been tested, everything's good, but the video showed that Colton had left before the hose testing ever started, and like I said, that exonerated him. Otherwise, he would have been suspect as being part of the party not telling the truth. Like I said, he never admitted that he used the brush truck, even after we showed him all the stuff. Now, I understand that the meeting they had the other night, which Dane, I believe, was at that meeting, did John not resign at that meeting?
Well, you really can't resign because we're not board members.
Do I?
The board members can only accept his resignation. There was a few of them there, a few of them wasn't there at the meeting. All the board members was not there.
Okay, but he did offer to resign that night, and did he not admit to doing everything that we just talked about? So he admitted it.
Well, he just, I didn't go in detail. He just said he was going to, he wanted to resign and all that, so.
Okay.
But like I told him, I said, we couldn't do it because all the board members wasn't there, and they have to do all the acceptance, the legal resignation.
Okay. But during that meeting, he did admit to falsifying.
Yeah, he
the
talked
report.
about it, yes.
Okay.
So is there yet to be a meeting where
To be in,
his resignation will be considered?
November,
November.
1st of November.
All right.
Do
Well,
you-
maybe by then he'll choose to give us a response. Maybe he wants to handle it quietly within his department. I'm fine with either one. We have sent, regardless of what happened there, and it sounds like what you speculated or what you told us, not speculated, what you told me sounds like it probably did happen. He has not responded to my request for his side of the story. But subsequent to that, the hose has all been tested properly. So we've got good hose.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all helping do that.
We got a meeting the other night that, on the dialogues, that they hadn't been tested since 2018. Do y'all test, did Jerry test them at the city fire department?
We've helped test all the hoses in Titus County. I don't remember the last time theirs was tested.
Because on the what do you call it, the book that they keep, that it was not tested since 2018.
That's possible. Like I said,
So
I don't have access to
that's
that.
3 years, and that's my deal about it. It's cost, I know, $690 to have that truck, them hoses tested. I didn't know if you was certified to do it, to help them out, or, whatever.
Yeah, we have had the VFDs over the years come to Mount Pleasant, and we do not test it for them, but we assist them. We have a hose testing machine, or we can use the engine. The engine will provide the amount of pressure that needs to be to test the hose. And just like I've said, every time I've been up here, our department is going to do everything possible to make a volunteer fire department successful. They've got to be the ones taking advantage of it. We can't make them take advantage of it.
We'll continue this discussion later. Thank you. Again, I hate to go too far in depth while there's an ongoing consideration here within the department and without the presence of the chief. Okay. Any action on item number 5, update from Sugar Hill Fire Department?
Judge Lee,
Sir,
may I ask a question?
sure you can.
Thank you. Question, did you say that when Chief Clark had the department, there were people signing that they were doing some training that wasn't being done? Yes. Has the standard changed for what so you were looking at those records then, is that correct? You weren't?
Until this agreement came in, I wasn't, they didn't have to do anything with the county.
When did the agreement come in?
Last year. Less than a year
Yeah, January,
Yeah, I think January.
February, March.
So y'all never gave them any records to check for that? Right. I'm trying to understand why just a new department hose test, there's a whole lot of questions. I didn't know this for county though. There's a whole lot of questions about records.
Hey, Hud, if you want to talk, go ahead and talk in the mic.
I think I made myself clear. It seems there's a change in the standard for checking records. Is that correct?
Do you agree with the county side, with BFD, when effective January?
I think that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish, is a standardized form of making sure that the testing is done, that it's done on the time frame that it's supposed to be done.
And in this case, y'all tested hoses with a truck that was too little, didn't make enough pressure? And what were you saying about two hoses they didn't test because they were new?
Yes.
Well, there's what they call a red line on the back of the grass truck. And we specifically asked the people that test the hoses, do we need to test those? And they said no. So we left them on the grass trucks. But we took all the other hoses that were on the grass trucks, put them on the engine, and I personally took the engine up there and sat there and watched them test every hose. Randy here, I was sitting in his pickup with him, watching them test those hoses. But
And y'all were filming this, you gave Larry some film, and showed what you did?
No. Tell you what, let's pick this up later. I want you to get all the information you need, but I sure got a bunch of stuff to get through here on this agenda.
Can I ask about the film that Larry got that showed that there's been some discrepancy?
What?
The film that you referred to showed some discrepancy. I wonder where it came from.
Does it really matter?
You can ask him at a later time, sure.
Does it really matter, your answer? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to jump. Oh, is there any action here to be taken in item number 5?
Fellas, should we do any action, or can we just drop this forever and move on and let this department get on their feet and get to work for Sugar Hill? I mean, that's what I'm wanting to do.
Well,
I feel like inside that department, if they can't get along with that chief, that's their business. They can vote somebody out or he can resign. I'm ready to move on with it.
Okay.
What do you guys feel about that?
I'm about the same way.
We can take action today and move on from this situation right now and let Sugar Hill keep on trucking.
I feel the same way. Yeah, they need to move forward.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we drop this issue, let Sugar Hill keep on going, and I don't want to hear from it again. I believe they learned their lesson, and they're embarrassed from it and ashamed from it, and we've done good testing, and we know how to test things, and we're going to move on. There's too much good going on out there right now, so I make a motion we drop this.
Okay, got a motion from Commissioner Fitch.
let me personally say this.
Well, hang on. I got a motion, and I think I got a second, and I'll get some comment here, but we're going to let the commissioners comment first. I have a second from Commissioner Parchman. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
In the event that something,
Would you come up here?
in the event that something like this happens again, that something is intentionally not done, I will be the first to come in and talk to you and Chief McRae and my commissioner and tell you it's not being done. So you can look into it then. You don't have to wait down the road somewhere. Because John did admit that he did it wrong. And in the event that anybody on the department does something and they says, well, I did it, and that first denied, and then they say they did. If I know they did, I'll come tell you, because we need that fire department in
That's
Sugar
right.
Hill.
I believe you will.
I would still like to know where the camera footage come from.
I will let you ask Chief McRae that. You can certainly do that.
Chief McRae, where did that camera footage come from?
Jerry Clark,
Jerry Clark. And why does he still have access to the cameras?
because the news folks never took him off of it.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Okay, well, I want you to put me down as a no vote because I'd still like to hear the rest of this story, but I will hear about the progress of this department, and I hope that this department can work through this. And I don't know what the plans are to do at the next vote, but I will trust in the process within that department.
Brian, I'd like to change my vote also on that. I would like to hear the rest of it, and before I make a final decision, I'd like to have a no vote on it.
Well, I think that you're still a minority vote, and we will hope that the department gives us a report after the next meeting. Then maybe there's a change, maybe there's not. I believe that they'll keep us informed. Okay, because I've got so many people here waiting and I don't want to hold them up, I'm going to delay item number 6, report from the Commissioner's roadwork status. And I'm going to go straight to item number 7, discuss a request from Ntcc for county support for the addition of a dedicated turn lane on FM 1735 into the campus with possible action. A little bit of history here, and I'll give he's walking out now, but I'll give Hudson Old credit for bringing this to my attention, and he has reminded me about that multiple times. I did contact the president of Ntcc and said, hey, do you need some county support to get something done regarding a dedicated turn lane? I've got a letter here from Dr. Ron Clinton, and even better, I've got there he is. There's John at the far back. And John, I'd love for you to address this, and I appreciate you taking the time. But let me quickly read this letter while you make your way up. Dear Judge, please consider this letter expressing the college's interest and appeal for a left-hand turn lane to be placed at the north entrance to the Ntcc campus. This turn lane would be utilized for northbound traffic on FM 1735. TxDOT has recently added a no left turn sign at this location back in 2018 to help try and ease the traffic issue. They also added a right-hand turn lane at this same location in the summer of 18 for southbound traffic. In addition, the college has added signage encouraging northbound traffic to use the main entrance, which is south of the north entrance. However, because more than 80% of our parking spots are located on the north side of the campus, we've been unsuccessful rerouting traffic to that entrance location. The north entrance intersection has become very dangerous over the years. The traffic turning left must stop in the middle of the highway. This backs up oncoming traffic, including many trucks coming from the power plant. We now have cars using the shoulder to go around the northbound traffic that have stopped to turn left. In addition, the southbound traffic right-hand turn lane also backs up. We believe a left-hand turn lane at the northbound entrance would create the safest situation. Thank you for your support. Anything you can do to provide Ntcc advocacy for these much-needed safety improvements. Welcome, John, and tell us a little bit more. This is a pretty good letter here that explains what needs to happen, and tell us how you think this could be accomplished.
I'm not sure how it can be accomplished. I think the more support we can get, the better chances of this happening. So, but I will tell you that letter for northbound and southbound can get a little bit confusing, but it's easy just to say if they're coming from the Chapel Hill side of the college versus if they're coming from the Pittsburgh side of the college. And more than 80% of our students come from the Chapel Hill side of the college. And so what's happened is, and we've worked with the highway department, I personally worked with TxDOT on this, and I was fortunate a few years ago to get them to come out, which it took about 2 years just to get them to come out. But when they did come out and they saw what was happening, when they visualized it and literally saw it, it made a big difference. That's how we got the right-hand turn lane put in. So what's happening is this. you have traffic coming from Chapel Hill side to turn into the college. We have a big main entrance, if you've ever been out there toward the Watley Center, but believe me, people want to turn in at the closest point to where they're going to park. Most people turn in on the what we're calling the north side of the campus. Like Judge said in the letter, about 80% is what we projected on that. And so what has happened is the traffic, the right-hand turn lane traffic backs up because there's a log jam. They have to turn in, go to another stop sign, and turn to the parking lot. We actually added another, when you turn in off the 1735 into the college, there are two ways to get in. We have one shoot-off lane to the right that immediately gets some traffic from backing up, stops traffic from backing up. But traffic still backed up. So at one time, traffic backed up all the way down to Chapel Hill at one time before we got the right-hand turn lane. So picture this, you're coming around the corner this way, headed to the college from Chapel Hill. Right after Chapel Hill, there's traffic, so you're stopping right there, really almost still in the school turn lane. They came out and saw that. They saw the need for that, so they put a right-hand turn lane there, because what was happening is people were going around them into the lane of traffic and thinking nobody's coming from the south side. So that was part of the issue. The right-hand turn lane helped significantly, I'll tell you that. But what has happened, if you're coming from the south side, no matter how much signage you put up, unless you're really enforcing it with tickets every day that somebody is out there, they're not going to, the signage becomes stagnant after a while, then people don't. We literally have moved the signs to different places, the signs that we control. The highway department controls one sign that says no left turn between 7:30 and 10:30. That is when the issue is. It's not in the afternoon. It's when you got 2,000 people trying to get on campus at the same time. But so what happens if you're coming from the south side, you got a car trying to turn left into the college parking lot, and they're looking at traffic. Traffic's coming at them that has the right of way that has to turn right in the parking lot. So they're setting left there. I can tell you, we probably had over the last 6-7 years, probably 10 accidents there. Thank goodness none of them have been one of them is a little bit serious, but none of them have been extremely serious. But then you've got trucks coming from Welsh Power Plant, and they come around the big curve of the main entrance, and there's a car sitting right there in the middle of the road. And not just trucks. It's not just trucks. It's pickup trucks. It's cars. And there may only be 3 or 4 of them coming, or 3 or 4 sitting there in the middle of the road. But any time that somebody's sitting in the middle of a highway stopped, it causes a problem. So there's 2 issues now. You've got right-hand traffic in the right-hand turn lane, and then you've got people who aren't turning right and they're going straight. And they're blinded because of a curve, so they're coming around and they're going south on 1735. Then you've got 3 or 4 cars going north on 1735, turning left where there's a sign that says do not turn for that particular reason. And then you got somebody coming up behind that car. So picture the worst scenario. You got 40 cars on the right-hand turn lane, 2 swerving around them. They're still in their lane, but they can't see. And so there's a person turning left trying to get in the college, which is the only way they can get in if somebody is nice enough to let them say, go ahead and go. Well, when they do that, that causes even more problem because they don't know somebody's coming around behind them on the backside. And so we thought, at one time, we met with TxDOT when they were very first talking about widening the road. We really and truly thought at the college they were going to widen that part of the road when they widened the rest of 1735 and down through Chapel Hill. There was just miscommunication, or we presumed something that wasn't going to happen. But our turn lane in front of the main campus is the correct turn lane. There's left-hand turn lanes, right-hand turn lanes in front of the main entrance of the campus, which is only 20% of the people using that entrance. If that was on the north entrance, we've actually looked at closing the north entrance because of this. That's not the answer. That would put us at 1 entrance. Because the accidents we were having, and really the accidents we're trying to stop from happening. We're trying to be proactive on this. I did the same thing with TxDOT on 2348 and the new loop. I kept calling them saying there are going to be wrecks here because of the way it's set up. And what did it take for them to get the 4-way stop? It took, unfortunately, a very serious wreck there. And then the 4-way stop popped up the next day. We don't want that to happen at the college. It's not just college students that we're worried about. We are very concerned about them. And many of them aren't familiar with the area. But it's all the Chapel Hill traffic and just the regular traffic, Welsh Power Plant traffic. So, Judge Lee, what I'm asking really is the county commissioners support that. And as we're approaching TxDOT, And as TxDOT contacts y'all, just saying that we believe there is a need for, it's going to take widening the road to get the left-hand turn lane there. And about a 100-foot section of the road's got to be, it's almost wide enough up to that point. I mean, they're just that close to where if they just widened it a little bit more, that could have solved a huge issue for a lot of us.
So it's not just a restriping issue?
I don't think so. I went out and looked at it after Dr. Clinton asked me to help him write that letter to you to describing it, about describing it. And I went out and looked at it. I'm no engineer, but I looked at how wide the road is down at our main entrance. And we got out and kind of measured it off. And then we went down to the curb and we thought, if there's specs here that they have to meet, this is not quite wide enough. I would like to say it is, and it's wide enough if you don't have shoulders, but I believe the state highway there has to have shoulders. So, it'd be easy to just go in and paint some stripes and scoot around it. It really would, but, that probably goes against every engineering rule in the book.
So what you would like for us to do is to give the college Commissioners Court support and jointly request not something specific to be done, but at least that they study it and let TxDOT figure out what's the best way to solve this problem, or do you want me to tell them a specific thing you'd like done?
Well, I think that getting them to study it, they did traffic counts when they got the right-hand turn lane in. That only took, it's really getting them out there to see the problem. After we got them out there, the problem got solved. So the more they hear from it from the Commissioner's Court, the more they hear from it from us. I wouldn't want to say, let's request them widen the road. I'd want to say, our request is, we request a left-hand turn lane at the north entrance from southbound traffic heading north.
Is that the same entrance, though, that the southbound traffic is coming in?
That's the problem, Judge.
We can't make that southbound, you can't make that left turn lane to be another one at the main entrance or something?
We've
so
tried
that they're
that.
not all funneling in the same way?
Well, right now there's a sign there. If you turn left at the north entrance, if you're headed from Pittsburgh toward Chapel Hill and you turn left into the college, you're violating the law. There's a sign there literally says no left turn, 7:30 to 10:30. Then farther down the road, you've probably seen this because you have to make that trip, but even after you sit for a while, it gets stagnant. There's a sign that says, college traffic, please use main entrance coming up on left. Different signage. We're trying to get them to turn in before they get to that entrance.
Wouldn't that be where you'd make the left turn lane then?
There is a left turn lane there.
There is one there.
There's a left turn lane there.
Already there.
It's already there. That is the perfect scenario for what we need on the north entrance. Because keep in mind, 80% of our people turn in at the north entrance because most of them are coming from Mount Pleasant. But the ones come from the south that do not want to turn in, it's simple. Like they just turn in there, it's going to be easier for you. The shortest route, it's a straight line. They want to go straight, turn in up there where they're about to park. And we message it. We use social media. We take fun pictures. We try to do it on TikTok, Instagram, and everything, saying it's actually easier for you if you'll turn in at the first lane. But that's not human nature. Human nature is they want to go as close as they can to where they're going to park, turn in there. And it's not everybody. We got a lot of the students to turn in the other way, but it only takes one car stopping in that road in the middle of the highway for the problem, for a truck to come around the corner. And we've had a truck right there before. We've had one shoot off into the ditch before because he came around the corner and there's a car literally stopped where you wouldn't normally think a car would be stopped, especially if you never travel on the road. So you got all these college students and employees too. Our employees are guilty of it too, no matter how hard we tell them, thinking, I can turn left up there. It's going to be really easy. I can shoot right in. What they forget is there are about 50 cars backed up turning right that have the right of way. So they're stuck there unless somebody lets them in. So it's really just support and yeah, we have the left-hand turn lane at the other place. Matter of fact, I should have brought pictures because all we'd like to do is take what's there and put it on the north entrance because that's where most traffic's coming in.
So you think that's the fix? Put a left turn lane at the same place where you've got a right turn lane going in the same entrance? I think
that would help significantly. It may not get them in the parking lot quicker, but what it will get is a lane around them so nobody's going to come up on the tail end of a car parked in the highway. That's our concern.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, the fix is everybody follow the rules, get there early, don't be late for class. But life is, if class is at 8 o'clock, they're going to be pulling in at 7:59, every one of them. And then others aren't going to follow this sign that says don't turn left. So thank you for your time on that. Any questions? Other questions?
John, what do we need to do? I mean, do we need to write a letter to text?
Yeah,
Donna?
that's exactly what I'm going to ask you to do, is I'll start it off with a phone call and say, this is what we want to get done, and we're serious about it. I'm going to put something in writing and send it to you. We've approved it in court if that's what you choose to do today. And unfortunately, we know how long things take, but maybe they can come up with a temporary solution, a long-term solution. I don't know. I'm not in tune enough with this problem to know and to tell them what needs to be done. They're going to go about it in their way, but we need them to understand that there really is a desire to get this done.
And on our end, we will start back the conversation. We've been doing this over the years, but we'll start it back again with the phone call. Dr. Clinton and I can drive over to Atlanta and sit down and meet with them, but our goal will be to get them on the campus, sitting in a truck in the morning, watching the traffic. That solved the right-hand turn lane. We were hoping they'd get, and at that time, they're the ones who decided to put up the sign for the left-hand turn lane, so they know there's an issue there. So I think if we just approach them and keep approaching them.
When's the last time you talked to anybody at TxDOT about your desire for a left turn lane?
It was before the pandemic.
Okay.
So we got all this done in 2018, right before 2019. And then, honestly, if they came out there during the pandemic, they weren't going to see the issue, and our issue is get their eyes on it when the traffic's there. And now the traffic is back, so we could just try to get them on the campus. So I think there's power in numbers. If you are approaching them from your side and we're approaching them from our side.
Well, let's do it. We'll do it together.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate y'all for listening.
All right, so that's my request, that you give me the authority to contact TxDOT and to begin this process, to have them get eyes on the situation and figure out something that won't necessarily solve the problem, but attempts to fix the problem that they're dealing with.
I make a motion, Brian, that we back the
Motion by
this issue.
Commissioner Parker.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Applewhite. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. You stepped out, but I gave you credit. And we are going to hope that they can get something figured out. I don't know if, I was hoping it was a restripe job, but it sounds like it may need more than that, but let's get the process started. Okay, let's move to item number 8. The good news is we've got 4 different subdivisions in process of varying sizes, and the folks involved in the development of these subdivisions, as I understand it, have provided the necessary documentation to move forward with the approvals. And I've got Clint Bain back there in the back corner, and we've got some representatives from these individual subdivisions. So let's go one at a time. We're going to consider and possibly approve the following subdivisions. We'll start with item A, the Hall Solomon at County Road 1455. Anybody here representing that? Jenna, you want to address this one? And this is Jenna Solomon, and she's you've gone to a lot of effort here for something that, I don't know, you've just gone above and beyond, so we appreciate that. But tell us what you're trying to accomplish here.
All I'm doing is I'm downsizing. I'm selling my ranch, and Cookie and Mike Hall are my partners in a flute business, and we're close friends. And it's my understanding that you have to go through a subdivision process to divide 1 acre off of their existing land. And so I've gone through the process, and Sergeant Bain has all the paperwork that is required. And I'm planning on building a new house on a 1+ acre. Has everything required, and that's my plans. Right now, I'm going to live on their property. I bought me a fifth wheel, And so I'm going to be in a fifth wheel while. So
And
that's my
the
plan.
major things that we're looking for in a subdivision, there's no new roads required here in order to service everybody in this subdivision. You've got power, you've got adequate sewage that will come from a septic system. You've got water supply, and you've got an adequately sized lot. So you've covered the basis. Again, we thank you for taking care of that. Sergeant, anything you want to add to that?
That's pretty much it. This was one of those situations where it's a shame that there wasn't an exemption that could have been met on it, because she went above and beyond for this small of a scale of a subdivision. But she did it, she wanted to do it correctly, she wanted to be within all the guidelines, and they have. So, this is one, like I said, this is a prime example of how a business person gets out and does things, and they do things right, and they don't try to cut corners.
Very good. Thank you, Jenna. Any further questions for either of these folks on item A here, the Hall Solomon? Just one. We're carving 1 acre out of a larger tract.
That's fine. I'm sorry. If you live on the road, you'll start.
Okay, if y'all are okay with that, how about a motion to approve the Hall and Solomon subdivision? Motions by Commissioner Parchman.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Fitch.
Applewhite seconded it.
Second, Commissioner Applewhite. Any discussion, further information on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Item B, the Woodlake Park subdivision. Christine, you want to say anything about this? Christine has been here before, and I think that before we were just lacking a few components. We have those components here at this time that have been completed. Anything you want to say?
Not really, unless you have any questions over any of it. Mr. Graham is here, which is the owner of this subdivision, so he would really be the one to address any of the questions. But we have, believe we've went through the checklist now and provided everything to the best of our knowledge.
Let me read this here from Sergeant Bain. I've reviewed the overall site plan for the on-site sewage submitted by Richard Graham for the development of the Woodlake Park subdivision. The site plan was completed by George Sanford. We worked with George. It does meet the requirements detailed in TAC 285.4. The proposed subdivision survey plat identifies 7 lots to be recorded in the new subdivision plat and 4 lots previously sold that was prior to the adoption of our subdivision requirements, and it has a common area to be retained by Mr. Graham, Grayson Properties, until it is given to the Woodlake Park Homeowners Association. All lots meet or exceed the minimum lot size of 1 acre, with the exception of one of the pre-existing lots that is listed as .88 acres and has become a home and already has a permitted on-site sewage facility in place. All lots have frontage road along County Road 2910 or an existing private road with a cul-de-sac. I recommend the development of this subdivision be allowed to proceed. Commissioner Fitch and I have met with Mr. Graham, feel that he is making an effort to correct the mistakes previously made during the development and sale of property and have a proper plat recorded. Sergeant, anything to add to this?
I think it's pretty much it. I think it sounds kind of like something I would say. Yeah.
I have a picture of these, and these lots now, with the exception of that smaller one, you've got 2.5 acres, 3 acres, 2 1/4, 1.5, 1.2, 1.31, and then we still have 9 acres left that may be future developed.
That's right.
We don't need, we don't have any questions about power or lot size or water supply.
Addresses, everything's been detailed out there.
Private road number, yes.
Have a new road sign for private road 2911. We just got a little more common sense about it and made it nicer for the people that are there. It's really nice. I'm really proud of this area.
Okay.
Did a good job.
Thank you.
We need some, sure.
I'd just like to thank John Fitch and you too, Judge, and also Christine and Sergeant Baines for your patience and your kindness. I'm just some.
Well, thank you for your patience. We've made you wait, and but we're trying to do it right too.
I've learned what it means to do it right because it affects everyone, including those who are there now. And so thank you very much for
You
your
bet.
kindness.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's get this approved.
Make a motion to approve Wood Lake Park.
Motion is made by Commissioner Fitch for approval,
Second.
second by Commissioner Parchman. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, now let's talk about the Cruz Subdivision. This is out at FM 2152 at Private Road 1625. Alberto and Lillian Cruz are proposing the subdivision of their property. It's 7.45 acres, and I believe previously existed as 3 parcels belonging to the heirs to the Crowley estate. Mr. and Ms. Cruz have had the property surveyed and propose to divide it now into 5 lots, with each one being over 1 acre. Additionally, each lot will have access or frontage on FM 2152 Green Hill Road, and the northernmost lot will have frontage on Private Road 1625. I'll at this time note that the property has a pre-existing access easement through it that extends from FM 2152 to the east to the property owned by Johnny Crowley. The easement was a result of the district court ruling by Judge Ralston and filed with the district clerk. However, it was never filed by the concerned parties or their attorneys with the county clerk for attachment with the appropriate deeds. So we got it almost done, but not quite filed. I reviewed the proposed survey plats, and though 3 of the lots are bordered by the easement and will have access to it, none are limited to it as the only route of ingress and egress. All 5 lots will have road access on Green Hill Road for individual driveways. I do recommend that the Commissioners Court take action to ensure that the easement is recorded on these existing deeds and those future deeds resulting from this development. Mr. Cruz used Edwin Holt, registered sanitarian, to write up the plan. It meets the requirements in TAC 285. The access easement there is also in addition, the access easement there is also a private well on the property that will require that the proper setback distances be met, meaning as part of the on-site sewage.
Correct.
Mr. Holt's report indicates that the soil of the subdivision is not suitable for subsurface disposal, and therefore an aerobic system is recommended. Any further comments on that? Good summary.
No, not really. Like I said, my biggest concerns are about that ingress and egress easement. I think eventually that probably needs to be designated as a private road. And I know normally I say private roads are a big evil, but this is one of them deals that we've just kind of inherited. It's going to be something, it's going to be there no matter what, whether it's designated as an easement or a private road, it is what it is. Right now, it's only truly serving, or designated to serve, I guess you'd say, the one property, but being that it goes through 2 others, I'm sure, because there's a tract in there that's going to end up being landlocked. That was another piece of Crowley property that I think sold before this did, and it will end up either having access through it or through another easement across someone else's property.
That doesn't exist right now.
Not that I can find. I mean, there may be a recorded easement on it.
How long has that private road been there? When was it built?
As far as the 60 private road 1625 or this easement.
Yeah, 1625.
1625 has been there since before I came here.
Long time.
Long time.
Before 1964, I think.
Yeah. And And I don't really know where it stops and where the actual driveway to 3M Ranch or whatever the ranch is called now. I don't really know where one stops and the other one begins. When I came here, we viewed it and was working patrol, we thought it was a county road all the way up till you got to the barn beside the house there in the ranch. Because that's how we patrolled it. But I think it actually,
It was a private road basically into the ranch.
yeah.
And back in the old days, okay?
Right.
But really, for our purposes, we're not considering making any requirements to update that road. It's grandfathered
Right,
in.
that one's not. The one that I think is going to need to be designated probably eventually as a private road as another, if there's another property in there, as I said, that is sold prior to this subdivision, that easement goes through. And I feel like probably if and when the owners of that property build on it, they'll probably end up using that as an easement rather than, and they may have another easement further to the south through Linda Bradley's property that I'm not aware of.
Okay.
But I feel like they'll end up using the one that's there. But again, that's, right now, everything has been addressed off of 2152. There's only one true house that's on that easement. The one that, the house that the Cruz family had moved onto the property and redone, it faces that easement, but it also has frontage on 2152. They could address it off of either way.
Either way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I'm good with it. I think we need to make a motion to approve it.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Parchman, second by Commissioner Fitch. Any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then lastly is the Ringland. This is Mr. Tom Waltz. I've reviewed the, once again, coming from Sergeant Bain, I've reviewed the overall site plan concerning on-site sewage for Ringland Holdings, R-I-N-G-L-A-N-D, Ringland Holdings Edition. This is at 271 North and County Road 1450. Property is being developed by Tom Waltz and his company. It meets the standards of TAC 285. The proposed subdivision as drawn on the original plat consists of 19.39 acres being divided into 5 lots. They're identified on the preliminary plat as lots 7 through 11, with lot 7 having frontage on both 271 and 1450. The others have adequate frontage for access on 1450. While reviewing the plat, observed that the survey measurements were made from the pins located in the center of County Road 1450 and did not reflect that the road right-of-way was not usable property. This reduced the lot size of each lot and greatly affected lot 11, reducing it from 1.22 acres to 0.8 of an acre. I notified Mr. Waltz and his surveyor, Mr. Kleem. Justin Kleem has since worked on rectifying this issue and has sent me another pre-plat showing the addition of 0.25 of an acre being added to lot 11 to make up that shortage. There's no reason to prevent this development from proceeding. I've notified Mr. Waltz and Mr. Kleem that upon Commissioner's Court approval, they'll need to submit the corrected final plats for signing. So I won't sign off on that until we do have that plat that shows the increase in size of that one lot. But all the others were adequately sized. And this is your, in your area?
Yeah, me and Clint drove out there last Friday and looked at it. I think it's gonna be a really nice subdivision. I'm good with it. Each one's gonna have its own personal drive, not gonna be a road required, so I think it's gonna be a good thing.
Okay. You want to approve that? Yeah.
Judge, I believe Justin had sent us another pre-plat, and it's going to reflect the increased size on that lot.
Yeah, up to 1.4. So the lot sizes are 6 1/4, 5.9, 3.75, 2.26, and that lot 11 becomes 1.47.
And also, when they turned the stuff into, they didn't include their letter of price in it. I'd already talked to Aaron and knew there was a letter. It just,
Yeah, water is available from Tri-Water for all 7 lots.
they did get proof of that. They'd already done their engineering study and all. On the lots that they're developing is 7 through 11, and I had the question to them, well, where's 1 through 6? 1 through 6 are on the opposite side of that county road and have already sold in whole as one piece of property. So rather than completely go through and redo all of their surveys, 1 through 6 will end up being one big piece of property. And then if those folks chose to develop it later, they'll then bring us that paperwork and we'll deal with it at this time. So
Okay.
if anybody has any, if it does come up, there's a question, we have 7-11, where is 1 through 6? Well, 1 through 6 is technically across the road, but with one owner, and is not technically a subdivision yet.
Okay.
If it ever is.
If it ever is.
Right.
Okay. Commissioner Parchman, you want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion, we approve it.
Motion to approve the Ringland subdivision, County Road 1450 at 271 North.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Applewhite. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, you've been busy. Thank you, Sergeant Bain. We appreciate your efforts. Okay, along this same line, we've got another subdivision in the works. Maybe some of you have seen it. This is a big deal. If you'll go out to where 271 and 271 Business join out there well north of town, you'll see that a huge amount of clearing with large equipment has been going on. And this is the Marroquin subdivision, and Mr. Marroquin happens to work for the county, Roberto Marroquin, and he's got quite a project going on out there. And he needs a little help. Commissioner Parchman has showed me kind of what's going on here. We've got a road that takes a jog. I'll let you better describe it, and I think it will be a win-win for everybody if we allow 1317 to be straightened up, and I'll let Commissioner Parchman tell you how that's going to be done and who's going to pay for that. But this is all with the objective of supporting this Marroquin subdivision there at the intersection of the 271 and Business there. And I don't know exactly what all he's got planned, but it's a sizable project. What do you want to add to this discussion?
Well, we want to take that curve out of the road because we want to square it up for a subdivision and for safety purposes. He owns both sides of the road, so that'll give him one lot on the right side, and that'll give him an extra lot on the left side. I guess it'd be on the east side of 271.
This dumps out on the east side of that triangle there, going on to 271 Business.
And Mr. Marroquin, he is going to pay for all the cost of the road being moved, so we can build that other one straight. So everything he's presented to me, I think is going to be good, so I'm good with it as well.
How do we ensure that when he straightens that road at his expense, that road is of equal quality to what he's replacing?
Well, he will have it surveyed. You know, the original road that's there is not actual 24 or the new county spec, what it should be. It's real narrow, so I think when we add to it, it should be the same as the old one that is there, so it will match. I mean, I think it'd be a good thing, so I don't have a problem with it being narrow like it is.
Is that going to be one of the main entrances into this
Yes.
subdivision? Do we need to add some additional requirements there to make it wider where it dumps onto
Well, it'll
271?
have the width off of 271 the way it needs to be. The state will be inspecting that part as well for the entrance there. And that will, they'll have probably 6 houses on that road that road will meet, feed. And then we'll have another, I guess, 10 houses that are gonna have a cul-de-sac road built into the middle of that property.
Straightening it right here, and then there's the cul-de-sac.
Does he have to meet some TxDOT requirements on that new entrance onto
I've already
271?
contacted TxDOT on that, and they have already approved a portion of it. It meets the distance from one entrance to the other. I think it was like 460 feet, what it had to meet, so it's been approved so far.
Okay, but that'll, there again, he'll have to get TxDOT happy.
Yes.
Will that be a concrete entrance there, or?
Yes, it'll have you'll have your concrete, no, it won't be it'll be asphalt.
Okay.
It'll be asphalt.
Okay.
It'll have the sloped ends that TxDOT required, and the certain width it'll meet their specs.
Okay. What's the total acreage out there?
Say it's around 17. No, it's got to be. No,
It's got to be, it's more than 20.
Yeah, it's 27. I can't exactly remember what it was.
It's closer to 25, I'm going to guess.
He's keeping 5 acres on
But
that point.
that peninsula point. Okay. Any questions about this?
Judge, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
So he's going to pay for that, and then when he brings something back to the court that, like, proof that he's done it, or, I mean, we won't do anything. Is that right?
We won't do anything other than trust that he stays in communication with Commissioner Parchman to straighten that road and to make TxDOT happy and to keep Commissioner Parchman happy.
And it still stays a county road?
Yes. Yeah. It's a fairly minor adjustment, but it does make sense, and it will make traffic flow through there safer.
I said that's a safer way to do that than have them come around like that, because if it's straight, people can see the way.
Yeah, well, there was really no reason to not have it with that angle on there before. I don't know how that angle came to be in the first place.
Right.
Are those all gone now?
Yeah.
Yeah, TXU houses.
Yeah, I remember that from years ago. That was an odd little jog in the road.
And to go back to that entrance, I guess it could be concrete if he desired to put it that way. I'm sure TxDOT would be agreeable to either way.
Looks like 60 feet or something like that. Okay, you want to make that a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve straightening the road on County Road 1317.
Okay, Commissioner Parchman makes the motion for item number 19 to approve that reshaping of 1317.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitch. Discussion, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, while we're talking about roads, let's get an update from you on road work. I'll start with Commissioner Parker.
We've been doing some scabbing on County Road 4325, and trying to get some patchwork done. We got around all the precinct with our mowing and got our tractor cleaned back up and everything fixed that need to be fixed for the winter. And we are back scabbing again this week, on a couple of the roads.
We got all getting the mowing done. We're about halfway, about 3/4 of a mile through on the mowing, and we've been last week we started patching over from Talco 1820 coming back towards Sugar Hill, And like I said, we just trying to catch up. We had some trees come down last couple weekends, and we putting culverts in today. And like I said, it's hard to, the thing about culverts is you can't hardly get none right now as far as the plastic ones. But we are in the process trying to find some more, but we will get some culverts we got to change out on the main roads. But we are working towards all that.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Fitch.
All right, we had a culvert cave in on 2360 that cut off a housing addition subdivision on the lake out here, so it took a couple of days on 2360 to replace that culvert, and we diverted traffic for a couple of days while we did it. The mowing we should finish our mowing hopefully by the end of this week. We had a few trees went down, so we've been doing a lot of patching. Working on 1070 right now. It's a pretty major project to get it back in shape from a lot of wear and tear. And we finished up a ditch project and some drainage on 2120. And we went and seal coated a couple of days, precinct 1, precinct 3, in the middle of all that, so staying busy.
Very good. Commissioner Parchman.
We chip seal County Road 1535 with the help of 2, 3, and 4. Appreciate you guys. We've also been patching potholes. We've now started construction on County Road 1455. We've been replacing culverts. I believe we've replaced 12 culverts on that road, and now we're cleaning ditches, and we have cut a few trees as well in certain areas to clean them up. So,
All right, thank you. Item number 11. I'm sorry. If you'll come up to the mic for me, please. And what agenda item are you addressing?
I guess on the county roads, on the road work.
Okay.
Excuse me, Commissioner Parker, there on County Road 4765, just past the intersection of County Road 4755, there's a bridge, and it's out. How long do you expect it to be out?
Not sure yet. I'm still working with a contractor to get his recommendations on what needs to be done there. Was trying to put a culvert in. One of the reasons that it's still down is I didn't have enough money in the budget for another tank or whatever to put in there. And we've kind of throwing both directions there as to what we're going to do to try to drop a tank in there. I've got a guy looking for a large, it's going to take a large tank to go in there if we can find one. Yeah. Hadn't been able to find one. The one I did find, it was nearly $30,000, so I couldn't do that. So we're probably going to end up going back with what we've got now. Mm-hmm. And it's got I-beams under there sitting on piers, and do some concrete work around it to try to fix it. But I'm hoping by the end of November we've got it back open, the road back open.
I appreciate it. Looks like something just blew up over there. I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, staying on the road theme, item number 10, consider and possibly approve making County Road 3232 a private road. Commissioner Applewhite.
This road goes between its own Harsh Bluff land. It goes behind the school entrance there to the new part. And I talked to the landowner. There's one landowner back there that hadn't sold out, and he said it would be fine with him. Bobby Rice, one that brought it to my attention, and he agrees with it. I guess they're wanting to try to maintain it more of like speed bumps and all that. And to them. I said, if both of you agreed, but you cannot block him in there. And he understood that. And so I told him I would bring it to Commissioner's Court. And it's, like I said, it's probably 0.2 of a mile long, all it is. It just, this was housing addition behind the school. But the school owns all the property around the school except one lot now in the very back. But they're wanting to make it I guess where they can do what they want to the road, then have to go through Commissioner's Court and have it changed all the time. about speed bumps and all, I guess, like that, too.
And landowners in agreement with
Yes,
this?
yes, yes.
The one that's affected?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you'll
They
make
tried
that.
to, tried to get him to sell out, but the parents don't want to sell it. You know, offer them a lot of money, but like I said, you know, it's their decision.
The schools tried to buy it.
Huh?
The school tried to buy it.
Yes, that multiple times. But
All right. You want to make that
I'll
in the
make a
form of a
motion.
motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion for making 3232 a private road?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Item number 11, consider and possibly adopt a resolution to cast our votes to elect the directors for the appraisal district. As you'll recall, we submitted our nominees. We've got, in the past, we've had more names. We've got here a pretty easy decision, I believe. Your candidates are Buddy Blue, Mike Edwards, David Greider, Steve Martin, and Hewlin Mike Reynolds. Your existing board. And we have 1,099 votes to cast. You can cast these equally spread amongst those 5. You can pile them up on 1, 2, 3, 4, or more. My personal suggestion is if all of the taxing entities were given the opportunity to give additional names, and none did, including ourselves, we just allocate our votes equally for these gentlemen that are willing to continue to serve.
I make that motion.
Motion is made by Commissioner Parker to allocate equally our 1,099 votes for the 5 nominees for the Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are up to item number 12, approve oral and written reports.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion for approval is made by Commissioner Applewhite and seconded by Commissioner Parchman. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 13, consider and possibly approve the treasurer's report.
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion is made by Commissioner Parchman. And
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitch. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Item number 14, budget amendments. Let me tell you what we've got here. This is 2022-002, and this relates, the first part of this relates to Precinct 2. As you'll recall, we received a donation that we approved from Integrated Demolition and Remediation to reallocate that donation and put it into an expense account for repairs for the road that they were giving money to repair. And so that was on County Road 2500. The amount of that is $11,584. So taking all of that donation and applying it to the budget for repairs there in Precinct 2. The rest of this is for Precincts 3 and 4. You'll recall we previously approved the purchase of a 2012 Dynapack double drum roller that was rented by Precinct 4. It was purchased by Precinct 3 and Precinct 4, with Precinct 3 paying a bit more for the cost of the purchase due to Precinct 4 having paid for the rental. So we are pulling out of capital outlay, and we're pulling out of Precinct 3 and 4's contingency. Precinct 3, $32,500, $14,431 out of Precinct 4, and we're applying that to $51,250 capital outlay, or excuse me, we're moving those same figures into capital outlay for the purchase of that double drum roller. And that just shows us where it came from. It came out of Precinct 3 and 4, but not on a 50-50 because Precinct 4 had already paid for those rentals that resulted in that reduced purchase price. That sound right?
Yes, sir.
I'll make it motion.
I've got one more, though.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
This is number 2022-003. This is in Precinct 1. We are transferring $7,000 out of other road materials into gravel and rock to help him meet his needs there. Okay, now you can approve.
I'll make it motion.
Motion to approve these
Yes, sir.
Second.
amendments made by Commissioner Parker, seconded by Commissioner Applewhite. Any question on any of those? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 15, sign pay orders and approve payment of the bills.
Make a motion, we pay our bill.
Motion is made by Commissioner Parker and seconded by Commissioner Parchman. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Closing comments. Thank you for your patience. A long meeting today. Commissioner Parker, thank you for staying a little extra long before leaving for your anniversary celebration. We congratulate you for...
She done left.
She already left?
She already left.
She said she'll meet him there. This is 46 or 47? 47. All right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Barbara.
I don't have anything else. Commissioner Parchman, any closing comments? Commissioner Fitch?
Congratulations, Jimmy, on the big 47.
Thank you.
Man, that's good. And the implosion company at the Monticello plant facility is going to do a small implosion on campus there at 8 o'clock Wednesday morning. That's October 27th, so by the time this word gets out, it's probably going to be too late. But they make some pretty loud noises. We can't really tell what's going on. It's not that big of an implosion, but it's loud.
There'll be somebody there.
It'll catch you off guard.
What's it going to knock down?
Some of the debris they've already got knocked down. They're breaking something else down in a pile or something that they've got. So something going on all the time out there.
Good. Commissioner Applewhite?
I just hope we get all this fire department stuff situated, we get behind us and, start helping each other and, just being safe, because we do need that fire station out there. And, but like I said, I just hope we just need to say, let's get it and let's go. Because it's supposed to be up 3-4 weeks ago, but it's just not been struggling. But I'm hoping it will get back on its feet pretty soon.
All right, Commissioner Parker.
I just want to reiterate that I am for getting Sugar Hill back up and going. I just want it to be done right, and I think everybody feels the same way. Also, I've got an update on the our chip spreader. It is, I talked to Aubrey Everett Thursday, and they said that it was, they did have everything ready, except one part that they hadn't got in yet. They were hoping it would come in today and said it would be just a minor deal. Said they've been having all kinds of problems with that because they can't get parts in. And they said we get a big machine like that in the shop, get it tore down, and we can't do anything else till we get the parts in to get that one fixed because it's not movable. And that phone call I got a little while ago was the guy with Romco. He has called, and the truck was on its way to pick up the lease one. And Chris told me Thursday that they would, or Friday when I talked to him, that they would probably be some money coming back for the because we didn't use it the whole time. So you might tell Nanette to take it off the insurance. So, but other than that's all I've got. Thank y'all for.
Are we still renting the other one?
We have been. I mean, we're going back today. That's
going back today.
Yeah,
okay.
They're out there to pick it up now. So.
So
When did you say that other one's gonna be ready? I mean, what did you say the time frame was?
Ours, or?
Yes,
oh,
ours.
He said he hoped the park would be in today, but he said it won't take long to get it finished, but he said, I'll let you know just as soon as we can, but he said, I can't guarantee it to be here Monday. He said, we thought it would be here last week, but it wasn't, so. Y'all just pray for us. We're gonna take a little trip to leaving today and gonna go up and see the Ark in the Creation Museum, so.
I didn't know they found it.
They did.
you don't go, she gonna leave you up there if you don't get out of here.
She probably will, yeah.
Okay.
I'll call her.
Yeah, that's okay. You don't need to call her.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your patience. And if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
I think I heard Commissioner Applewhite first, Commissioner Parchman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.